Starblade was released in arcades in 1991 and was clearly influenced by the Star Wars movies. Well, I say that without evidence, but there's totally one of those Death Star gorge moments nearer the end. For the time, the number of polygons on screen was an impressive feat, and players found themselves immersed in the action. To be fair, that's because when they played it in the arcade, they sat in a cockpit staring at a screen, feeling all like a proper space pilot. I don't get that joy because I'm playing it with a controller, but whatever, at least it's not on Kinect or something. I had enough trouble getting around Disneyland with that thing. Even though I was playing Starblade over 2 decades later, I found that I got proper immersed anyway. Credit is due to Starblade for creating a believable atmosphere. The deliberate lack of music during gameplay and the radio messages really helps generate this oppressive outer space atmosphere. I became the pilot of Geosword, a new Starblade machine, and I was tasked with destroying the mechanized planet Red Eye. Red Eye has entered the vicinity of the Federation of Planets and needs to be destroyed, so I am scrambled off into the thick of it, an enemy storm. Whoa! Just how awesome is this opening and these graphics? Straight out into miles and miles of endless space, getting attacked on all sides by enemy craft, lasers, lasers, lasers everywhere. I discover the enemy flagship commander and follow it as it returns to Red Eye. To do that, I've got to activate hyperdrive. Along the way, I'm destroying waves and waves of enemy vessels. While I don't have the freedom to fly anywhere I wanted to, I still felt immediately immersed. I warp into this asteroid field and just, how amazing does this look? Seriously. Ducking and diving around asteroids, I was really feeling an all-new kind of feeling when I played Starblade. I felt as though I was enjoying myself for the first time in a very long time. The draw distance is short, but that is by far my only gripe. This game looks as good as it did in 1991, and then some. Sometimes untextured polygons work just as well in creating a vivid game world. The PlayStation version doesn't agree with the stupid textured polygons and full screen. What unnecessary enhancements. Storming through the enemy defense lines, taking out the enemy craft, feeling extremely awesome as I did so. This game is really fun. After a short stint, I reached the surface of planet Red Eye. Swerving through the mountains of the planet, taking down hordes of enemies was a significant joy. Such primitive graphics mattered not as I was playing because the atmosphere was tight. On-screen HUD, the distance meters, the cockpit view and the radio chatter crafted this infallible sense of atmosphere, this deadly space environment realized in a way that few modern games could even hope to achieve. From the mountains to what appears to be a factory area filled with towers, a lot of this game is down to interpretation due to simplicity, but I enjoyed that. Even just as an abstract world of blocky shapes, the tone is still pure. Traversing these factory roads, the path leads to Octopus, the core of Red Eye, taking down all the power crystals in a crazed assault. Red Eye is history. How very satisfying it was to watch Red Eye explode into pieces. Well, that's over. I can just put up my feet and... Warning! Iceberg is approaching. A large enemy vessel capable of wiping out cities in an instant. No doubt retaliation for the destruction of Red Eye. I gear up and swoop down into the trenches of Iceberg with one intention: to take out the power supply and shred this iceberg into lettuce. That pun didn't work. This is the Death Star bit that I alluded to earlier. Admit it, the force is strong in this one. I'm in the massive core of Iceberg, and with some well-aimed shots and a handful of credits, I'm laying waste to everything around me. Iceberg is finished. Well, that's over. I can put up my feet and the enemy flagship is hightailing it. Now it's personal. It's dogfight time, you and me. As the enemy flagship falls, Geosword is the victor. Well, that's over. I can put up my feet and sit back and fly into space, a hero and a master of my trade. A space ace, a genius, a warrior god like Thor. So what if it's 2 decades old? I got the biggest kick I've had in ages playing this game. It took me back to my youth, although granted I never played Starblade when I was younger. Actually, if I'd played Starblade back then, that would have been impressive, seeing as I'd only be like, what, a year old? This game might look familiar to you, Perhaps you're getting what I call staritis. It happens when one game with a star in the title reminds you of another. What I'm trying to say is that Starblade, being as revolutionary and mind-crashing as it was, inspired and influenced many other games. Its most clear effect on the industry was influencing Star Fox and Starwing, which later went on to be a huge hit for Nintendo. Well, we don't know that for a fact, that it influenced Star Fox, but just look at Star Fox. Starblade clearly influenced Star Fox. I bet you're wondering how you can get your hands on Starblade, eh? Well, there's a PlayStation version called Starblade Alpha, but it fetches a pretty penny. It doesn't come cheap, I'm afraid, but it is affordable. It's not the Ming Vase of space shooters, but it's close. If you're interested, the Ming Vase of space shooters on PlayStation is probably a mega boost. You can unlock the arcade version of Starblade on the PS2 version of Tekken 5. It'll even let you play with force feedback when you get hit. How bloody cool is that? Starblade is totally worth checking out. The atmosphere alone is worth a single run. The deliberate choice of having most of the game with sweeping PSG audio instead of music is clever as hell. I mean, seriously, I got immersed in this. I really felt like I was in that cockpit gunning down those enemies. I don't get that feeling often with video games. It's great to finally feel like I'm, well, stuck into something. I haven't felt like that in ages. We have something truly remarkable. What shocks me more, I'm not so clear. I don't know whether I should be more amazed by the fact a game as far back as 1991 just melted my face, or that somehow this game managed to stay under my radar for my entire life so far. I'm sort of speechless now, I am... woo! Can't stress this enough. It's great. You need Starblade in your life. Well, maybe not your whole life, but it's maybe worth a few minutes of your life. Track it down somehow, okay? Until next time, if we live that long.